Today we will be making moonshine from plums, or Chacha, without sugar. You can make Chacha without sugar if you have very sweet plums. We live in the south, so it is sweet. First of all, you need to wait for the plums to fall to the ground and become sweet enough. Mine have already fallen, and I have collected them. After collecting it, I leave it in a warm place for a day to start the fermentation. Here it started to play, juice was released, and you can continue working. When producing Chacha from 10 liters of plums, 1 liter of strong moonshine is obtained. Of course sugar could be added, but I don't add it because otherwise the taste gets spoiled, and the quality will not be the same. Just like with Magon and apricot, we will need a regular high-speed drill and a large or small whisk for mixing construction mixtures. We pour the plums into a tall container to prevent juice from splattering while crushing the plums. We lower the whisk into the plum and turn on the drill. I do not remove the pits from the plums. They settle at the bottom, and all you need to do is pour off the top part, leaving the pits at the bottom. As a result, in the end, it turned out to be an unusual and peculiar kind of jelly. There is little liquid here, so we will add water at a ratio of 5 liters of water for every 10 liters of this mixture. And mix everything well. It is advisable to use an airlock, but I use a regular lid for the barrel because it is not tight and will gradually release pressure from the carbon dioxide. The fermentation will last for 15-20 days. During this time, the bubbles will completely disappear and the mash will acquire a not sweet but slightly bitter taste. Now 24 hours have passed and I can separate the pits from the juice. They have settled at the bottom, so I pour the juice into a bucket. And the pits have settled at the bottom. Now they can be discarded. 2 weeks have passed, and the mash from the plums is already ready. The cap of the mash has sunk to the bottom. It has become translucent, and it can be distilled. I will not filter the plum mash because it is very watery and will not burn the milk concrete at a low flame. For distilling the plum mash, I use milk concrete, which will not be in contact with the mash for long, so not many oxides will get into it. Now it is necessary to fill the milk concrete with the plum mash to about 3/4, so that it does not rise up and block the steam supply hose. Here, I carefully pour in the tails from the previous batch of homemade moonshine, and with precision. The mash is very liquid, and therefore even the lower part is very watery. This is how it looks. The first distillation has been completed. I did not separate the heads or tails, and took up to 20 degrees of strength. Now it is necessary to dilute it and distill it a second time. The result was such cloudy moonshine. In the dry distiller, there is approximately around half a liter of fusels, roughly. Let's check the strength of the moonshine that was obtained after the first distillation. The overall strength came out to be 40 degrees. But this moonshine after the first distillation contains a large amount of light fractions, acetones, as well as fusels, which will negatively affect health and appearance. It is cloudy. Before the second distillation, it is necessary to reduce the strength of the moonshine to 20 degrees. My strength is 40 degrees, so it needs to be diluted 1:1. For 10 liters of moonshine, I add 10 liters of regular settling tap water. After that, the strength of the moonshine became approximately 20 degrees. Now it is necessary to slowly conduct the second distillation over a low flame, separating the tails and heads. Now the plum mash has boiled, and the first drops of the first distillate have appeared. After this, it is necessary to reduce the level of the fire and collect 10% of the expected yield of moonshine. I will have approximately 0.5 liters of the first distillate. We will still divide it by smell and taste. Here are the first half a liter of the first distillate poured. They need to be set aside and used only externally or for starting fires. It is transparent, clean, but has an unpleasant smell, with a pronounced scent of acetone. The next 150 grams, which were distilled after the first half liter of first distillate, do not have a sharp smell, are slightly weaker by 0.5 degrees, and are suitable for making good moonshine.
Now we collect the main part of the moonshine, which is called the body, up to 45 degrees strength. There is almost no condensate in the dry distillers yet, which means the moonshine is pure. Now the strength of the moonshine has dropped to 45 degrees. These are the tails. We collect them separately. The main part of the moonshine body has a strength of 60 degrees. It is necessary to dilute it to 45 degrees using purified bottled water. To dilute this moonshine to 45 degrees, it is necessary to use 1 liter of purified bottled water. We mix everything in a non-living bucket. First we pour in the water, and then the moonshine. We pour out 1 liter of water. And a liter of moonshine.
As a result, from 10 kilograms of plum, 1 liter of 45-degree fruit moonshine was obtained.